Hello, hello, my whammy peeps. The Washington State assault weapons ban. Boy, we have a problem. We have a problem. Wait to get a couple in here. Oh boy. Give me a thumbs up. How you guys doing today? If you live in Washington State, let me know in the comments below. We got a problem. So, Washington State's assault weapons ban. Well, they've been at this for like 9 years. You know what's frustrating is the fact that um, Washington State, up until what, 2015, 2016, Washington State was actually really good place to live if you were pro-gun. Um, Washington State is open carry. You don't have to, you didn't have to take a class to get your license. If you had your concealed carry license, you didn't have to wait any additional time. You buy your AR, shotgun, or whatever it is, and go home with it that day. It was a really good place to be if you were pro-gun. We've come a long ways now, and here we are. Um, this is a problem, but there's hope. There's hope. I tell you what, when I see titles like this, you guys are braver than I am. When I see titles like this, it's hard to click on them because I get that mad. Like I'm that angry about the situation. It really bothers me. And so hearing about it and talking about it, or hearing somebody else talk about it, is pretty strenuous, like on my heart, on my emotions. It bothers me. But I wanna throw a couple things to you. There is absolutely hope. There's hope. So we are now basically a year in to fighting the magazine ban. And there's some very positive things with that. Okay. The judge didn't just, throw out our side and say, get out of here. You guys are just upset or whatever. I don't want to hear it type thing. No, it was the opposite, where, Ferguson and their side, they were basically like, oh, it shouldn't even be, being talked about it, or, I'm like extremely paraphrasing here, guys. Um, just kind of keeping you up to date. Um, but the judges said, no, we're going to hear this, and it's 100% legitimate, their concern. So we're gonna play this through and see what happens. So there's that, right? It's positive, and there's hope. It does not seem like there's a bias, as far as the judge is concerned, on the anti-gun side. If anything, it looks like there might be a slight bias on our side. So that's a big plus. Now, I'm assuming most of you are already aware of, um, the case in New York, right? Um, which was huge. And although that happened, we still have an assault weapons ban, right? Um, and of course, guys, look, if you're pro gun, you already know these are not assault rifles. They're not. They're AR-15s. They're modern sporting rifles. That's what they are. Unfortunately, the media, the news, they all, have tricked those who don't know any better into truly believing that they're assault weapons. I even know people who are like people that are older, like older people that are pro gun, but they're like in their 70s, and they call them assault rifles because they hear it so much on the news. They're like, hey, I hear about they banning assault rifles. I need to get me one before it's too late, because if they're looking to ban it, that means we probably need it, right? But they're actually calling it assault rifle because they don't know any better. You know, I absolutely educate them and correct them when I come across that, but that's how much they're saying it. That's how much they're trying to program people to really making them believe that. Now, here's some facts. The majority of mass shootings are not carried out with an AR-15. That is false. The majority of murders, period, happen by handgun. It's not even close. It's not even close. Handgun by far. Boy, they're so ignorant. They're so ignorant. It's almost hard to talk about because it's like, what are we talking about? You know what I mean? What are we talking about? They're slow. Think about it. They're slow. It's scary to them, and they are 100% reacting off of emotion purely. There is no logic whatsoever. They're not using any logic. It's straight emotion. And so you see all the ignorance that we get. Charles, I'm sorry that the people in your state have to go through this. In reality, we are all going through this with you. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Going through it with you. If we don't all stand up for this, we will be gunless. We will all be gunless. Absolutely, and I appreciate that. And I mean that. One state's fight is all of our fight, and I'm not in a position where I can just up and move because I don't like what they're doing. Like, my daughter's here. I have situations here where no matter what, bare minimum, I have to be here for another 7 years, no matter 6 years, no matter what. So, and this messes me up pretty heavy, right? Like, again, we have hope. I believe, and I really believe this isn't just blind hope. They use some of the same crisis actors at different events. I've heard a lot of people say that. But I really believe we're going to win this. Okay, I really do. And I'm not just hoping, like blind hoping. I really believe it. But it really bothers me because I have a plan. I have something I've been pushing towards, which is building a ranch here in Washington State for people to come to. And well, I'll tell you more about that in another video. But with this, that means you guys can't come here with your AR-15s. I mean, it's so bad that they were having a problem. They were having a fight. The reason why it was extended and it wasn't signed in, to law last week is because they were having an issue with the fact, with one of the questions was, well, do we allow, people who are moving here from the military, right, to McCord and what you call to the base, if they're moving here and they own AR-15s, well, let that be the exception. Well, they were going back and forth with that. They didn't even want that to happen. So, yeah, you can't come here with your AR-15 and take a class in Washington State with your AR, and like, based on the wording that I seen, you can't come if you're from out of state. You can't come here with your AR-15. We're talking some major bullshit, and that totally derails my lifelong goal. Okay, listen. Anything that they speak about at those hearings, it's it's just ignorance. It's funny because I watched a lot of it, right? And the majority of it was trying to pull on your heartstrings. My husband died from a gunman. My this died from my friend's child died from accidental gun. When it was kind of like, okay, well, that was with a handgun. I wasn't even with the AR-15. Why did you even bring that up? But I can do that too. See, I've had more loss than everybody who went in there and spoke on it. I've had more people die to gun violence than anybody who went in there and spoke. Yeah. See, we're not talking about gang members or some bullshit like that. Just in case somebody looks at me and assumes because of my skin color that who I'm talking about are gangbangers or something. There are people who are that ignorant, so I just need to throw that out there. I've had more loss from guns, like death by gun, than they have, for sure. That didn't make me say, we need to get rid of guns. It made me say, I need a gun. Let me tell you a story real quick before I jump off here. My father was in an unfortunate situation. I'm writing a book about it. It's called The Son of a Gun. My father, someone broke into our home armed with a rifle. My grandmother, mother, and 5 kids under the age of 8, most under the age of 5, were home. My dad had just walked in the house, in the back door. A guy breaks in the house armed with the rifle, threatening everyone in the house. And they were aware of the guy. Like, he was trouble. He was a big time drug dealer in the neighborhood, and he was really high and breaking in the houses on the block, like house after house. And he had went into our house. He harmed the people in the house next door. An old man. He knocked him to the ground, beat him up. See, this guy that I'm talking about, this evil guy, he was also a Golden Glove boxer, and he knocked a 70-year-old something man to the ground, hit him with a hard grown man punch. A 7-year-old man knocked him to the floor. This man was evil. He broke into the house. My dad called 911. My dad was on the phone with 911. This guy charged my dad My dad had a 357 Magnum. He shot him. That man, he didn't make it. He crawled on the living room floor for a little bit, and he died on our living room floor. Almost a year later, that bad guy had a bad brother. And although my father, was 100% self-defense, right? Um, never did a day in jail, anything. I mean, it was clear self-defense. However, the bad guy's brother doesn't care about that, right? Well, I don't want to give too much information, but I just let you know that he tried to kill my father. He almost did. He shot my dad from a very far distance off, approximately 150 yards away with a 30-06. Because he was upset my brother took his brother's life, although it was his brother's fault. His brother was being a dumbass, breaking in people's homes, beating up elderly people. And then he got to the wrong house and he got shot. Shoots my dad, his brother. My dad was in a body cast for a year. Now, my dad has 6 siblings. Excuse me, he has 7 siblings. Out of his 7 siblings, when this happened, all of it, from him to self-defense, home invasion, to the guy shooting my father, they had a reaction. But Sniff, I appreciate it. They had a reaction, and two of my father's siblings said, I hate guns. I hate guns. A gun almost killed my brother. I never want to have anything to do with the gun. I hate guns. 2 of his siblings, that was their reaction. The other 5, their reaction was, I need a gun. Now. You see? So that happened just in my family. The vast majority of my family is pro-gun, big time, right? But even in my family, there are some who are, anti-gun, specifically for that situation even. And you can see the irrational reaction to it. I had the conversation with my uncle, and I understood his emotion about it, but the logic, just it's not there. And this is not an ignorant man. He graduated from Montana State. The emotion was overwhelming for him, seeing that his big brother that he looked up to was almost murdered. And the rest of the family, the others, they said, need a gun now, right now. That's 98% of my family. That's their reaction, right? And so you got to think about it. I mean, that's how a lot of these people react. It is just emotion. And some of them they're not ignorant. They're just ignorant to this specifically. Some of these people are actually intelligent. But when it comes to this specifically, they are totally ignorant. And I mean totally. The majority of these people, when they hear semi-automatic, they think that means automatic. I don't know why they don't hear semi, but they don't. When they hear semi-automatic, they think it means brrr. That's what they think it means. And I'm not so much concerned with those on the extreme, left. My concern are those in the middle. That's what the actual fight is for. It's those people in the middle. If we want that extra help, if we want to, which we should, because the Democrats have been kicking our butts in that arena, we need to get those in the middle and go, hey, don't listen to what he's saying. No, he's wrong. He's wrong. States that have the strictest gun control have cities with the worst murder rates. That's a fact. Washington State's, because we just started, but California, New Jersey, New York, we're talking about murder nonstop in those states. And go to the cities, it's horrible. It's horrible. Illinois, Chicago's horrible. You know how many guns are in Montana, Wyoming, Idaho? Murder capitals there? No. They're as pro-gun as pro-gun gets. There's not a bunch of bullshit going on. Guys, there's so much to cover, but I just wanted to speak to you for about 20 minutes, and we'll continue this conversation later on. Next video, I had allowed you guys to vote on what the next video you wanted me to post up, and it looks like the majority want me to kind of go a little further into the gas system of an AR-15 and explain that. The second one wanted to hear about the situation I was in where I had to use the gun I had in order to stay alive. So that'll be the second video I make, but we will continue this conversation. I appreciate you guys listening in. I appreciate the positive words, and we'll talk to you. Appreciate you. Let me out.